Okay, so today we are taking it up a step further. Instead of doing a binomial by binomial, we are doing a binomial by trinomial. So this can be pretty tricky depending on which method you choose. It really comes down to preference. So when we did binomial by binomial, we had the choice between the FOIL method and the box method. And technically, there's a FOIL method and a box method for these, but we can't call it the FOIL method because the FOIL method only applies to binomial. So our methods for today are the distribute method, okay, and our box method. So keep that in mind for both. So I'm going to go back and forth between my 8 examples, okay? And you need to choose which method you prefer, okay? So I'm going to start with the distribute method. So it can be pretty tricky, but it just comes down to how organized you can be. So if I look at number 1, what I mean by distribute is I am first going to distribute the x from the binomial to everything in the trinomial. And then I'm going to distribute the 4 times everything in the trinomial. So it's just going in order, all right? So let's go. I'm going to start with the x. X times x squared is x cubed. X times 3x is positive 3x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. So I've taken care of the x. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but with 4. So positive 4 times x squared is 4x squared. Positive 4 times positive 3x is positive 12x. And positive 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Now, when I use this method, I have to really pay attention and look for those like terms. So we start with the highest power, that's x cubed. There's nothing to combine with x cubed because there's not another one. So then I move on to the next power, which is x squared. And there are 2 of them. So 3x squared plus 4x squared is positive 7x squared. And then I move on to the x's I see. So negative 6x plus 12x is positive 6x. And then lastly, the constant, negative 24. Okay, so if you do this correctly, and it should go for every single type of problem, your first and your last term shouldn't combine with anything, but you should be able to combine with these 4 terms in the middle if you do it correctly. So let's do the FOIL method again with number 2, or the distributive method. So we're going to start with y. Y times y squared is y cubed. Y times 2y is positive 2y squared. Y times 4 is positive 4y. And then once I'm done with the y, I'm going to distribute the 1. 1 times y squared is 1y squared. 1 times 2y is positive 2y. And 1 times 4 is positive 4. Okay? So again, if I did this correctly, my first and last term should be only those. So then I look to what I can combine in the middle. So 2y squared plus 1y squared is 3y squared. And 4y plus 2y is positive 6y. And then I'm done. So now we're going to take that. So if you like the FOIL method, this is the distributive property, you can do that. I'm going to show you the box method, which in my mind, I think it's a lot more organized when it comes to a binomial by trinomial. So the box method works because I can make the box look however I want. So if I want to do a binomial by a trinomial, I'm going to need a rectangle. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect dimensions, but so the idea is I'm going to multiply k times negative, or k minus 5 times k squared minus k minus 8. Okay, so this box, I'm going to multiply k squared times k, which is k to the third. This box, negative k times k is negative k squared. This box, negative 8 times k is negative 8k. This box, k squared times negative 5 is negative 5k squared. This box, negative k times negative 5 is positive 5k. And this box, negative 8 times negative 5 is positive 40. If I do this correctly, my diagonals should still be my like terms. But this time, there are 2 sets of diagonals. So my first is k cubed. Here's my first like term, so negative k squared minus 5k squared is negative 6k squared. The second diagonal, negative 8k plus 5k is negative 3k. And then my last one is positive 40. Works just like this, it's just a different setup. So let's do another box method with number 4. So again, I'm just going to draw a rectangle. You don't want to use an actual square because it's a trinomial and a binomial. So m plus 3 and then m squared plus 3m plus 5. This box is m squared times m is m cubed. This box is 3m times m is positive 3m. This box is positive 5 and m is positive 5m. Oh, this is squared. Okay, this box is m squared times 3 is positive 3m squared. This box is 3m times 3 is 9m. And this box is 5 times 3, which is positive 15. So then again, if I do this correctly, my diagonals should be my like terms. Okay, so I start at the corner here, m cubed. My first like terms, 3m squared plus 3m squared is 6m squared. My second set of like terms, 5m plus 9m is positive 14m. And then my last term is 15. I'm going to go back to the FOIL method for 5 and 6, just to give you some more examples of each type. So let's start with x. X times x squared is x cubed. X times 2x is positive 2x squared. X times 1 is 1x. Then I move on to the 1. 1 times x squared is 1x squared. 1 times 2x is 2x. And 1 times 1 is 1. Again, if I did this correctly, my first and last terms should not combine with anything. So if I look, 2x squared plus 1x squared is 3x squared. 1x plus 2x is 3x. And there we go. Okay, one more FOIL method. Z's first, so z times z squared is z cubed. Z times negative 4z is negative 4z squared. Z times 2 is positive 2z. Then I move on to the 3. 3 times z squared is 3z squared. 3 times negative 4z is negative 12z. And 3 times 2 is positive 6. If I do it correctly, my first and last terms should not change. So negative 4z squared plus 3z squared is negative 1z squared. 2z minus 12z is negative 10z. Going back to the box method, so just the same idea. Okay, so I have 3x plus 1, and then 5x squared plus 2x minus 6. 5x squared times 3x is 15x cubed. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. Negative 6 times 3x is negative 18x. 5x squared times 1 is 5x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. And negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. My diagonals should be my like terms. So the first and last don't change. 6x squared plus 5x squared is 11x squared. Negative 18x plus 2x is negative 16x, and then negative 6 is the last term. Last but not least, one more box method. Making my rectangles bigger and bigger, it seems. So I have 2x plus 2, and then 4x squared minus 3x minus 6. So 4x squared times 2x is 8x cubed. Negative 3x times 2x is negative 6x. And negative 6 times 2x is negative 12x. 4x squared times 2 is 8x squared. Negative 3x times 2 is negative 6x. And negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. If I did it correctly, my diagonals should be like terms. So I start at the beginning. 8x cubed. 8x squared minus 6x squared is positive 2x squared. Negative 6x minus 12x is negative 18x. And then my last term is negative 12. So again, it's the FOIL method and the box method, just whichever you prefer.